Santushta satatam yogi yatatma dhrudha nishchayaha mayyarpita mano buddhihi yo madbhakta same priyaha.
Santushtaha satatam, always completely satisfied. Yogi, one who is practicing union with the self. Self-governed, of firm resolve. Consecrating mind and intellect to me, one devoted to me is dear to me. See, throughout these verses, he uses the word yaha. Yaha mad bhaktaha same priyaha. Yaha means whoever the person is, he, she, whatever it is. So, he doesn't say that you have to be a Krishna Bhakta. He doesn't say that you have to owe allegiance to Krishna. He doesn't say you have to be a Hindu or a Brahmin or a person who performs certain rituals. Nothing. You can denounce Krishna, but if you have these 35 qualities, he says, you are dear to Krishna. What a universal message. What a magnanimous view to take. He doesn't ask you whether you love Krishna. He says, do you possess these qualities? Then Krishna unhesitatingly loves you. So, yaha, whoever the person is. Santushta satatam, quality number 8. Tushtaha, content, satisfied, happy. Santushtaha, supremely happy. Satatam santushtaha, always supremely happy. What a state. We can't even conceive of a state like that, because if at all we are happy, it is never always. And that happiness that we experience depends entirely on so many factors in the world being just right. Only then we are happy. If even one of the external factors goes away, you are in grief. So the question that arises is, how can you be santushtaha, supremely happy, satatam, always? Which implies that your happiness is completely independent of the world. Irrespective of what the world has to offer to you, you've got to have the capacity to be supremely, totally satisfied. How do you get there? You know, Swami Ramatirtha says, your primary duty in life is just to be cheerful, happy, content, satisfied. If you're not, if you're unhappy, grief-stricken, crying, you have no business showing your face in the world. Because he says, it is a highly infectious disease. Far more infectious than smallpox and chickenpox and all of that put together. What? If you pull a long face, automatically, even a person who doesn't know you feels depressed. Isn't that true? So, be cheerful, happy. How do you be happy? How can you be happy? You know, there are, as against this, you and I are constantly wanting more and more, something or the other you want. And happiness for each one of us is just around the corner. You say, if only this one little thing I'm able to achieve, then I'll be happy. One person says, if only my daughter gets married, that's my only worry in life, then I'll be happy. Second person says, daughter is married, but the son-in-law is terrible. Third person says, all my children are married, not once, many times over. And that is my problem. so on and so forth. Every one of us has something or the other. And yet, if you look at it, all of us have millions of things to be happy for. And still we're unhappy. On the other hand, there are stories from the Puranas who portray pictures of people who have nothing going for them and yet are supremely happy. There's a story of a Bhakta, God's great Bhakta of the Lord. And he had elephantiasis in one leg. So the gods in heaven were watching him and saying, he's such a great Bhakta and he's worshipped me for so many years, so let me go and offer him a boon. So God appears sakshat before him and says, I'm very pleased with your sadhana and your bhakti. I offer you a boon. Ask for anything and I will give it. Grant it. Helplessly, this man looks at God and says, but you have given me everything, Lord. What can I ask for? And God says, no, I insist, you must ask for a boon. So he's totally flummoxed. He looks down and suddenly he sees the elephantiasis on one leg. So he looks at the Lord and says, Lord, please shift the elephantiasis from the right leg to the left leg. What a state. What a state of fulfillment where he doesn't even think of asking, please remove the elephantiasis, he doesn't say. That is the state of abundance. That's the state of fulfillment that he's talking about. A bhakta. So how do you get there is the question. When your attention is on the world, you have infinite demands. When you're functioning with the mind has this uncanny knack of zeroing in on one or two things that you don't have. Deficiency motivation it's called. But when you shift your attention from the world to something beyond the world, something higher, that's when you get relief from your internal demands. When you start operating with your intellect rather than with your mind, the intellect looks at what you have and therefore you don't feel like demanding for anything. So this is not a state of tamas. Most people misunderstand this. I'm sure you have this doubt in your mind, which is, if I'm happy with what I have, then where will the motivation come to work for more, to aspire for more, to grow? Isn't that what you're thinking? But that is a state of tamas. Tamas is a state of ignorance where you are content with what you have because you don't know any higher state. You don't know a better state of living. Rajas is the state where you have knowledge of better things, but you're constantly demanding, constantly asking. You're a constant beggar in life. Sattva is the state where you have knowledge of the internal wealth that you have and therefore you are content with anything that the world has to offer to you. So when that happens, your mind is satisfied, content with what you have. Your intellect can conceive of a better state of being and plan and program to get there. Chances are you'll get there. But if your mind is in a state of constant unrest, you will neither strive for better things. I mean, you may strive, but you're in a state of stress, agitation, disturbance, as a result of which you will not even achieve higher things in life. Do you see the difference? For instance, if you have a Maruti car, there is no reason why you should be unhappy with that. Yes, it's a small car, but at least it gets you from place to place. So be content with the Maruti car. Your mind is happy with what you have. The intellect may conceive of a bigger car, a better car, a more powerful car, or whatever it be. And you can strive to acquire that. There is no taboo to that. But at no stage must you be discontent with whatever it is that you have. Swami Ramatirtha said, if you are not happy as you are, where you are, you will never be happy. Then comes yogi. Quality number 9 is yogi. What is a yogi? A yogi is one who is constant, who has first of all fixed his attention on Atman, the self, God, which is beyond the world. Fixed his attention on that which transcends the world. And then all his efforts, see, once you have set your goal, whatever that goal be, whether it is terrestrial or transcendental, once there is a goal fixation, then all your activities are anchored in that goal. Your attention is there, so everything you do is towards that. There is consistency of purpose. There is constancy of effort. As a result, you achieve what you want to achieve. Yogi is one who is constantly aligned with the goal of getting to God, just as a mountaineer whose goal is to get to Mount Everest. Whatever he does, they reach stage 1 and they have to camp there for a few days, then they slowly move to the next stage, then they have to get acclimatized to the rarefied air. Whatever it is that they're doing, the constant alignment is to Mount Everest. Only such a person gets there. If you go there in a hurry and run up, you will run out of steam and abandon the project. If you go so slowly that you lose sight of the goal, you will never reach. So there has to be this constant alignment, not mental craving. And as a result of that, see what happens is when you fix the goal and you're moving towards it, you're putting in effort, the chances are that you may slip and go off course. So your intellect has to be alert and constantly bring it back on course, just as when a plane takes off from Delhi and goes to Bombay, the plane is off course a lot of the time. But what the pilot does is course correction. The moment it goes slightly off course, bring it back. Then again it goes off course, again bring it back. This is your progress. That is why in the Shastras, in the scriptures, the spiritual path is referred to as the razor's edge. It's very difficult to be bang on target. What you require to do is course correction. So this is what he calls as yogi. Quality number 9. So when you focus on the goal, you're on course all the time. If there is no goal, then you go drifting. Quality number 10, yatatma, self-governed. Now, this self-control or self-governance follows as a result of goal fixation. So what happens is, the goal becomes the reference point against which all your activities are measured. So, if a certain activity obstructs the achievement of your goal, only then do you say no to it. But if that particular activity does not come in the way, activity or enjoyment or whatever it is, does not come in the way of your progress towards the goal, there is no reason why you should not enjoy it. You have it, you enjoy it. So self-governance is not unnecessary self-denial. If you deny yourself too much, what happens? It comes back with a bang. That is why most people on a crash course, dieting course, you know what happens? They may lose a kilo or 2, but in the end they gain 5 more kilos. Because you unnecessarily restrict yourself, torture yourself, frustrate yourself in such a way that it comes back with a bang. There should be a careful, that is why it's called, self-control is referred to as brahmacharya. Brahmacharya literally means walking in the path of Brahman. Brahmani charati iti brahmacharya. So, walking in the path of God, Brahman means you fix a goal and you move towards that goal. Any activity that comes in the way of your achieving the goal, you should have the courage to say no to it. Then, dridhanishchayaha, firm resolve. Again, it's linked to the goal. When you are committed to achieving the goal, you naturally have what is known as firm resolve. Now, firm resolve refers to your gross intellect. Yogi is a reference to the subtle intellect. When you employ both the gross intellect and the subtle intellect to guide your life's activities, you can never go wrong. What is the difference between gross intellect and subtle intellect? Gross intellect discriminates between pairs of opposites in the world, like day and night, black and white, profit, loss, etc. Subtle intellect makes a value judgment. It tells you what is right and what is wrong. For instance, the gross intellect might tell you that if you do this, you will make higher profits. But your subtle intellect might tell you, but that is not the right thing to do. So you need to employ both the gross and subtle intellects. And when you use both of these, you can never ever go wrong in life. So, Dridha Nishchayaha, gross intellect, yogi, subtle intellect, conscience. Therefore it is that Shakespeare said, to thine own self be true, and it must follow as the night, the day thou canst not then be false to any man. It is a person who has a strong conscience and is following his conscience, who has the courage to do what is right and is fearless, has the courage to stand up against the greatest powers in the world. This is what Gandhiji had. This is what just 2 generations back, hundreds and thousands of people followed their conscience and got together and fought against a power that was reputed to be one, the British Empire, on which they said the sun never sets. And yet, these handful of people got together, these handful of people who had nothing going for them, no money, no financial power, no economic clout, no political alliances, nothing going for them except the conscience which told them we are fighting for truth, we are fighting for justice. And that fighting was done without any hatred. Because our leadership was such. And within a matter of 2 generations, what happened to those high values? Where are they in this country? How can you allow such degradation to take place right before your eyes? You, as they say, they called us, children of immortality, amritasya putraha. Who? All of us. How can you allow such degradation? How can you not follow high principles? Therefore, being human beings, again as Shakespeare says, he says, you're not wood, you're not stone, but men, and being men and women of such high caliber. This spirituality runs through your veins. Live up to this dignity and prestige of being amritasya putra, children of immortality. Follow your conscience, follow your intellect. You can never go wrong. You will gain power to stand up against the might of all the wrongdoers in the world. And you will win. Dridha nishchayaha. And then, Mai arpita manobuddhi. Consecrate your mind and intellect to me. You see, whatever it is that you do, you have to bring a union of your mind and intellect. Just as when you are cutting through steel with a saw, the saw cuts through steel, but you have to apply a lubricant to soften the blow. Isn't that true? So it is the intellect that cuts through ignorance. But you have to lubricate the whole procedure with devotion, and only then will you be successful. So what is it? It is, whatever be the pursuit is made easier when you are devoted to it. That is why you find musicians worship their instruments. A sitar player has the highest regard for the sitar. You go kicking it around, he gets very angry. Cricketer has the highest respect for the bat because it is the bat that is his livelihood, the bat is his lord, the bat is everything to him. Now, feeling without thinking, meaning just the flow of mind, emotions, without the intellect supporting it, amounts to superstition. Thinking, intellectual exercises, jugglery, without the devotion of the heart is stupidity. But a beautiful combination of the mind and intellect gets you to a point which is beyond comprehension, to the state of God realization. So, that is what it is. Next verse, please.